When Atlanta was chosen to host Super Bowl 53, everyone expected that an iconic Atlanta hip-hop act would headline the halftime show. But instead, the NFL chose Maroon 5, leaving everyone scratching their heads. How could Atlanta, the hip-hop mecca, not choose one of their own? The answer is complicated, but first, let's establish how Atlanta became the hip-hop powerhouse that it is today.
There was a point in time where the conversation about hip hop was either East Coast, meaning New York, or West Coast, meaning LA. And that was it, that was hip hop.
Andre 3000 changed that narrative for good in 1995 at the Source Awards when a new group from Atlanta called Outkast won Album of the Year.
Saying it's like we got a demo tape and don't nobody want to hear it, but it's like this, the South got something to say, that's all I got to say.
And today, you can't listen to a hip hop song, or any song, without Atlanta having their fingerprints all over it.
Hello?
Hey, there we go. Hey.
Can you describe Atlanta's sound?
The Migos sound different than 21 Savage because the Migos are from North. 21 Savage is from Zone 6, who sounds different from 2 Chainz, who's from the South Side, who sounds radically different from, say, a T.I., who's from the West Side. So each side has their own little colloquialisms. Each side has their own little beats.
Is there anything that they all have in common?
Yeah, dope beats and slick rhymes.
Snap music.
Crunk.
But it's out the feeling. Something about to happen. Bounce music. That's really what it is. The bounce is the double time. Do you play trap? Dark, slow, psychedelic damn near to me.
I think that Atlanta personally is a melting pot. Man, people say that and they know that, but they have to understand that doesn't mean that people from all over come live here. It also means all the ideas come here and they get stirred in the pots.
I think Atlanta is woven into hip hop. All the things that are Atlanta are woven into our music, and then that's blasted out across the country. In a city like Atlanta, you have politicians, entertainers, and athletes, drug dealers, strippers, and college kids, all in the same city, imparting together and creating this culture that goes right into the music. Our music is political, it's sexual, it's fun.
The place that all of these different groups come together is the strip club, a venue that some say is the most important place for an artist to be seen, to become relevant, and to break out.
Atlanta has a juke joint culture, a social club culture, meaning our dance clubs, our exotic clubs, our new clubs, and our strip clubs are what old jazz clubs and juke joints and social clubs used to be doing prohibition and things. It's where people fraternize, it's where people socialize, it's where the risque, the art, and the elite kind of mix, and this is where records are broken out of.
I can pretty much guarantee you that 90% of the people who live in Atlanta have been to a strip club a time or 3.
A strip club is not kind of what other strip clubs are. It's where like men go to throw money and like try to get some like that's not what Atlanta strip clubs are. They're more like clubs. They're more like social places where there are new women there, but the food is great and we can have a conversation, but like, damn, who is this?
I love Twista's album because one time I was at a strip club over on Atlanta Road and they just played the whole album. It's almost like you being conditioned. If you're listening to a song with a naked, beautiful girl in front of you and you having a great time, your thought of that song is always gonna make you smile.
It's a place where business dealings also happen. You know, somebody in the record industry to be hanging out in the strip club, hear this new record drop, like, oh, this is different.
You know, Atlanta is one of the only cities in the country that we literally can take our music from the studio to the club.
And it's not just the music that Atlanta hip-hop has influenced. It has permeated throughout the city where you can say firmly that Atlanta is hip-hop.
Art and hip-hop music go hand in hand because musicians and artists have cross-pollinated for all the time, and I think we're always going to do that. Hip-hop has allowed Forbes magazine to say the #1 cultural export out of the United States is hip-hop and R&B. Hip-hop and R&B firmly comes out of Atlanta.
And when it comes to pop cultural relevance, there is no stage quite like the Super Bowl halftime show. And with just 3 weeks to go before the big game, the NFL announced that Travis Scott and Atlanta's own Big Boy would perform alongside Maroon 5, the ultimate side dish.
Now, hip-hop is the #1 genre in the world that people listen to. But yet, it is always marginalized. It's always an accompaniment to something other than that.
If you went to the Bay Area to do a tech convention and you didn't include any of the tech companies that year, well, you in Atlanta and your halftime show is music, and urban rap music is the #1 music, period, out of every single genre. So how would you come to Atlanta with all this music and try to do a show without including them? It just doesn't make sense.
But the NFL did ask hip-hop acts to headline before they chose Maroon 5, but some turned it down in order to stand in solidarity with former NFL player Colin Kaepernick. The halftime show over time has been wrought with controversy, even becoming a distraction, to the point where some at USA Today have said the halftime show's dead.
We have a crisis in this country where we have agents of the state that have been allowed to kill members of the proletariat. We have a star football player who chose to protest that by kneeling. We have an ironclad ownership in football that does not take well to that, and that has essentially blackballed him out of the game. And we have unrest amongst the African American community over whether we should continue that protest or not. I would argue that if that was not happening, you would see a African American group opening the Super Bowl. But I don't think anyone wants to die on that hill right now and touch that hot of a subject.
We're at this tug of war where, do we want to participate and be heard, or do we want to fight against the NFL? Because the NFL is like, yo, we asked y'all, but you guys said no.
What do you say to people who are saying that Travis and Big Boy are sellouts?
Shut up. There are many paths to freedom. We'll see each other when we get there.
Usually, the Super Bowl halftime headliner holds a press conference in the week leading up to their performance. But just 2 days before their scheduled presser, Maroon 5 canceled, further highlighting the controversy this year.